Good evening and welcome to tonight's homework lecture. As you can see, this lecture is about integers. Well, the first question is always, what is an integer? Well, I've actually written the definition for you, so make sure you're ready to take notes. Integers are positive and negative whole numbers and zero. So all the counting numbers, 1 through 500 million or however high you can count, plus the negatives and the number 0. Those are integers. Here's the crazy thing about integers. You've been using integers for years. You just didn't know you were using them. We didn't call them that. We just called them whole numbers. But integers are both the high, above 0 numbers, and the low, the negative numbers, the numbers below 0. So if you were looking back at what we've done in previous, these are all simple questions that you've done before. But, for instance, right here, this 2, that's an integer. So is this one. This 5 is an integer. This 6 is an integer. This 4, the 15, and the 5. But what's different now is that not only are all those integers, but so is -3. That's an integer. Well, how do we use those? Let's start with 5 minus 3, something easy. Now what you'll see here on the left-hand side of your screen are 2 dots. And we're going to use those quite a bit. These are going to be your counters. These counters will be used in class. They'll be used in every model, almost every model that we use to do integers. The one on top here is a +1. So anytime we have a positive number, we're going to represent that with this yellow counter. And we got physical counters that we'll be using in class to practice. And on the flip side, the actual flip side of those counters we'll use in class, but these red dots are negative numbers, negative ones. So if we're going to do this problem, 5 minus 3, well, we start with what? Right, 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to take away 3. Well, I can actually take away 3 of these numbers. So take away 1, take away 2, take away 3. What's left? Of course, +2. Let's move to one a little more difficult. The flip side of this problem, -3 plus 5. So again, what color are our negatives? Right, they are reds. So for this -3, we're going to need 1, 2, 3 negatives, and then +5. So we're going to need what? Right, we're going to need 5 positives. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I want you to think, what happens when you put a negative and a positive together? Well, when you put a negative and a positive together, you get what is called a zero pair. Let me write that term here for you. Zero pair. That is an important vocabulary word, just like integer. A zero pair is what happens when you have a positive and a negative, positive and negative together, and they create 0. So they pair up and make a 0. So what you do is you put them together and then they go away. Put them together and they go away. Put them together and they go away. And what are we left with? Just like in this problem, we're left with 2 positives. So 5 minus 3 is the same thing as -3 plus 5. It's just flipped over. Make sure you come to class tomorrow with questions. I'm sure you'll have some about this. We're going to be working a lot over the next week or so with integers and all the different ways that we can add, subtract, multiply, and divide them. See you in class.